We took over with 2 days before our first league game with a squad with no defenders, a couple of midfielders and about 94 strikers. Work to do in the transfer market. Let's go. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to number 7 of Stingerman. And last time we left you with this predicament here, didn't we? We took over our new team, Slavoj Trebezov. Never get that right. And we regret with the tiniest squad I've ever seen. So that's the predicament. Let's get in the transfer market and sort it out. Welcome, Juraj Martinček, attacking midfielder. Number 1, Christian Lukacic, central midfielder or attacking midfielder. In the door, number 2, Matthias Belay, centre half. Number 3, Daniel Borovsky, right back, right wing back, inverted wing back. Number 4, Daniel Adiailo, wing back left, wing back right, inverted wing back. 5th man through the door, Oliver Janso, left wing back, left midfield. Number 6, 6 men through the door in a day and a half. That is top Harry Redknapp, deadline day style trading. Okay, we've also got a load of guys in on trial, so it doesn't end there, but obviously we can't use them in our first game of the season today against Poprad. Now, I like to start seasons well and usually with a win, but today, if we don't get an absolute spanking to keep morale a little bit higher, I'll be delighted. Because do you ever see them adverts where non-league teams don't have a team and they put a random advert out saying we need a striker for our next match? That's basically what's just happened, but we put an advert out for 7 players. So they're all through the door. None of them are match fit. Let's see what happens. Okie dokie. So we've played a few games, as you can see, and it has not been pretty. And that's kind of be expected, isn't it? Because we've basically just done a pre-season while the season has started. So the game that we started with was against Poprad. We lost narrowly 1-2 with our makeshift team with random people that we gathered in from McDonald's. Now we've got a few more players through the door. We managed to get a win over Nitra. That draw against Zvolen is not as good as it looks, because that's the only point that team have got all season and they are rooted to the bottom. So yes, we then hit the skids with 4 defeats in the 5. We weren't looking too good. We weren't getting trashed by anyone, but there was no fluidity. The team are very, very poor. I thought I had it bad at Karabukspor. This is another level. So we've just managed recently to claw it back. The last 3 games, only 1 defeat. A big 3-0 win there against Lipany. And we've gone back to basics somewhat with a formation, not asking too much of them, as in not too many player instructions, not too expansive, just trying to remain as solid as we can and relying on our stronger players, the forwards, to get us through it. So luckily for us, we've got this fella, Martin Rymarenko. He's 23 years old and he's good. He scored us 9 goals in 12 games. And to be fair to the lad, I played him in 3 or 4 different positions when really I should just keep him what he's good at, poacher role. I had an eye on him being a shadow striker, but I've kept him as a poacher, back to poacher now, and he just scored a spanking hat-trick. His strike partner, Chuk Wamuka Uma. Now this is a lad I've actually spent money on. I think he cost us £10,000. That's a set for life monthly win. He's taken a little while to settle in, only 1 goal in 9 games, but he's there to provide for his strike partner, and he's started to do that. Now if you look at his stats, he's got some key stats there for a target man. A lot of people will know I love a target man. Now I found him using a super short term scouting technique that this episode is entitled after, and it's like this. So I only had a couple of days to get these players in. Like I said, the season had started basically when we got here. So I couldn't do a big broad scouting range like I normally would. Added to that, we're a poor side with low finances, with hardly any staff. I couldn't rely on them. So I had to do the super short scouting technique that sometimes I revert to. It can be risky, it's not entirely accurate, but you will get a player through the door that will tick the boxes that you need. We go to new search, we've got all the players on there. Now I needed a striker, click the striker zone, and I literally just pick attributes. I'm not going to go too in depth here because it's just going to scale the players down. I'm going to target the specific attributes that I desperately needed out of this player to get in fast. Remember, I had 2-3 days to get him in. So for Chuck, what I wanted was a target man. I wanted jumping reach. I wanted a bit of heading, some off the ball, and a bit of balance would also be ideal for my target man. I pressed all those and I kept it at least 15. When I pressed that, he came up. Notice nobody else came up. He came up. He was the one player that ticked them boxes for me and managed to get through the door and fast. You can do that for other positions if you try and get a player in a hurry. Now, it doesn't come without its risks. It's not going to be entirely accurate. You're not going to have a scout watching him, so it's going to be in the range. If you look at Chuck, his heading and jumping reach isn't 15, it's more like 13. So he came in at the 11 to 16 range, but I still took a risk because I had to. This would be similar if you're going for a different type of player. So say I needed a central midfielder and I wanted a playmaker. If I focus on the key attributes for that, so if I'm looking for vision, passing and balance, if I kept it at 15, I would find one player that ticked those boxes. There he is, and he's only 17. As you can see, it's in the range. It's not accurate, it's in the range. So it's 9 to 17, his vision is 9 to 15, and his balance is 12 to 18. So I can be semi-confident on him. It's just not going to be exactly what I want, but if it's a short-term solution, it's not a bad way to go about it. So this is what we've gone with to try and get us out of the mire. Now, Karabukspor, our first season was pretty much like this, wasn't it? If you remember, we scratched and scratched to try and survive. And we went with a 4-4-2 to get us out of it. These boys have gone with a 4-2-4. So it's a 4-4-2, but the centre midfielders sitting a little bit deeper. So we're going to play a bit more on the counter-attack. Now, games where I think we're going to win, we're going back to a 4-4-2, but we're going to focus on wide play. Because my two wide lads, Issa and Adayilo, they're pretty damn decent, and we've got them two boys up front, so if we can supply them some bullets while staying solid at the back, we might have a chance. League table is not a pretty sight. We currently sit 12th, which is where the media predicted. We've played 12 games now, we've won 3, drawn 3 and lost 6. Now, we're not conceding a lot of goals, we've only conceded 15 goals, but we've only scored 11. But if you look at this league table, it's a small league of 16. It's pretty tight. You basically one good run of 3-4 games from jumping right up the league. So I'm not panicking yet. We're on a decent run of form. If we can just put a few together, we can potentially get up there and get clear of this relegation. That's the goal for this season, just stay up. Next season, unless we get a great job offer, we'll stay and we'll try and build them up like we did with Karabukspor. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go away and play 3 or 4 games, then we'll check back in before this massive break. December, January, February and March. 4 months off. You've got time to get pregnant and have the kid nearly. And then we'll see where we're at. So we got through them games, crew, and it was alright. It was alright. It was a few wins, a few draws. This was the last game we just played before this mammoth break, which had 4 or 5 month break, something like that. But the good news is the tactics started to work. Easter down there. Nice little ball across. The big man up front. I need you to look at this, right? So we've got this lad up front. Let's just pause it there. I don't know if you can make this out, but Big Chuck, Uma, is absolutely massive. Compared to other players, he is an absolute unit. He must be at least 9'7". Play that on. He just scored the most hilarious goal of his career, but pause it there. Look at the size difference there. It's an absolute tank. But this was our last game before the break. And we won 3-2. Here's Big Chuck from the corner. That's exactly why we bought him. Absolute mammoth of a man. We just about got the win. And this is Vollen, who are bottom of the table. We made hard work of it, but you can see there's definite changes going on because we're making chances and scoring them now. So signs are good. So since we left you here, it was a decent run. We lost 2 there, just by the odd goal. 0-1 and an epic 3-4. But we're on the back of 2 straight wins now, so we're clawing it back, which leaves us exactly where we stayed, 12th. We're stuck in that 12th position. But we've got 20 points now, and we're 6 clear of the relegation zone, which is key. But also, if we can go on a run after this mammoth break, I don't see why we can't get up into that top 8 sort of zone, because it's only 7 points, and you can make that back pretty easily. So it just takes 3 or 4 wins to get us going. So, as I say, look at this break. December, January, February, March. They've got 4 months off, which is pretty much like me during COVID. because I'm a gym manager by day and I haven't worked hardly for the past year. So these boys are getting time off. We're going to do some serious work. We're going to stick with this formation, which is here. We're sticking with this one. And the key points are Joha and Issa supplying the bullets to Big Chuck and Rymarenko. They're the keys. All these boys, they've just got to keep it tight because we're not a good team. But them four can keep us flowing. I'm going to play it out now. If it looks like it's going to be down to relegation zone, anything like that, we'll bring it back for then. But if not, we'll play through the season, see where we get to. We played 18. There's only 12 games left. Shorter seasons. So we'll play through. He'll join me at the end of the season, most likely. Then we've got decision time to make. Do we stay with Trebizov or do we move on? I feel like unfinished business, so I'll probably stay for a second season unless there's a really cool job offer. Let's see what happens. Okay, a bit of a wild ride this season. I don't know what these lot are after, but believe it or not, and I couldn't get it on camera, they gave me a job ultimatum. It's the first time I've had it in this year's FM, and it kind of shit me up a bit, I won't lie, but we managed to turn it around. As the big man says there, delighted to inform you that the following promise you made to them, then I was satisfied you've done your utmost to keep it. The promise was stop being rubbish and get the form going, and we have done. So there we go, what a turnaround. The board now delighted with the club vision progress because we have kept ourselves in the league this season. They are delighted that we have achieved the main objective, become an established second division team. Job done. Now let me tell you this. This was actually harder than Karabukspor. With a game to go, we currently lie in 11th. Pre-season prediction was 12th. So yeah, we've beat that because we can't finish any lower than 11th. We can't finish any higher than 11th. We are 11th. And I'm happy with it. At one stage it was looking a little bit ropey, but thank the dear lords for Martin Rymarenko, easy for me to say. 26 goals in 29 games. The man pulled out the bag. So we had some form pre-4-month break. Then after the 4-month break, we lost 2, drew 1. And there, at that point, was when we got the ultimatum from the board. We were still lying in 12th, so I don't know what they're after. But anyway, they did it, and it fired us up. We then went on to win a load of games. We scored loads. 3, 2, 4 in a 4-5 defeat. Another 4. Another 3 there. That form got us to stay in the league. We were winless in our last 2, but it doesn't matter. We got one more game of the season against Plezov, but we are comfortably finishing this season in 11th. And the big question is, now what? Do we stay or do we go? I don't like my board. They're a bit pushy. They've given us no money. The club was part-timers until we got into this league. We're established, but they're still not happy. We've only lost 12 games out of 29. It's not a disaster. It's not spectacular. But we're 3 points off the top 10. What more do they want? So I'm tempted to move on again. Remember I showed you how to add all the leagues? Well, we've re-added them now. And if you can see there, I added them 2-3 weeks ago, and they become playable from the 30th of the 6th. So that's when I'll be able to get a job in these countries. So I added Belgium, got Croatia, France, Germany, loads, Portugal. You get the picture. So one of these nations I may move to. It all depends if the right job comes up. But they are all playable now, and we're good to go. Job centre is quiet. Job centre is quiet. But you will see there is a job there that we recognise. The Karabukspor job. The fella's been sacked, following in my footsteps. And it's not good news. So we're going to do this. We're always going to check on the teams that we left and see how they get on. And the Karaboys are struggling. They've gone through 2 managers so far this season. They've got a new man in charge. And it's my player, Umakan Sulukulu, that I bought in. So he must be player manager, caretaker manager. He's got a lot on his plate. If we bring the league table up, you can see what's happened to them. They are down in 18th place. They've got 2 games left and they're 3 points behind. They look like they're about to leave the game zone. Back to us. So we're going to play this last game of the season. We'll finish the season at Trebizov, and then we'll have a little look around in the off-season. I'm swaying towards leaving, going somewhere new. Haven't really fell in love with Trebizov like we did with Kara, but you never know. At the start of the next episode, you will see where we land next. Make the whole crowd say easy.